Okay.
So this is Wes. We're still trying to get set up here, get our PowerPoint on the back slide so we can so everybody can follow along on Zoom. So hang in tight.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'll be back in about 2 minutes, guys. This is Joe.
Hey, really quick for folks on Zoom, I just want to check, is everyone able to hear Marnie?
I could hear you loud and clear. I can't hear Marnie.
I cannot hear Marnie either.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and have
I can't
Marnie.
either.
Just turn this off completely. Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties. I guess my cell phone was not working. So, welcome to the April 8th Colfax City Council meeting. We are now in open session. To follow the shelter-in-place mandate, we are performing the City Council meeting virtually. Council and city staff have worked hard to provide multiple options for the public to participate in this meeting while remaining safe in their homes. However, virtual meetings are new to all of us, and we would greatly appreciate your patience and understanding if technical difficulties do occur. We encourage everyone to engage in the public meeting, but please note the best way to ensure council will receive your comments is by
I have a little problem with the Zoom.
submitting them via email 24 hours in advance of the meeting start time to the city clerk. Please be mindful that Facebook Live has a slight delay, and we will provide ample time to allow people to respond when appropriate. Those of you participating via Zoom, if you would like to provide comments, please click raise hand and we will receive your comments and/or questions in order received. When it is your turn, we will call out your screen name shown and you will have 3 minutes to provide comments. Those of you joining us dial in, please press *6 to unmute yourself or use disable the mute function on your cell phone, but only during the appropriate public comment times. When you are finished speaking, press *6 to mute or enable it on your cell phone. As a reminder to council, please be sure that your microphones are muted when you are not speaking, and do not forget to turn them off, or do not forget to turn them on when you're speaking. Okay, so now we're going to move to item 2B, and I've asked Mike to lead us in the pledge. We'll all stand.
Great salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so since we're in a meeting that's virtual, we need to do a roll call. So, Mayor Pro Tem Lohman.
Here.
Councilmember Burris.
Present.
Councilmember Douglas.
Present.
Councilmember Fatula.
Present.
And myself, Mayor Mendoza, I am present. So all council is present. So now we're going to move to item 2D, approval of the agenda item. By motion, do I have a motion to accept the agenda order?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor? Do I do a
Roll call.
roll call again? So we'll go with Mayor Pro Tem Lohman.
Aye.
Councilmember Burris.
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas. Councilmember Douglas. Did we lose Councilmember?
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas.
Aye, yes.
You. Councilmember Fatula.
Yes.
And myself, Mayor Mendoza, is an aye. Okay, so now we're going to move to item. It's 3, it just says 3. Anyway, agency reports. Item 3, agency reports. We do not have any agency reports scheduled, but if any agency would like to provide a report, please feel free to do so in public comment. We also do not have a presentation tonight, and we do not have a public hearing. Okay, so we're going to move to item 6, consent calendar. Can I get a motion to approve the calendar?
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Oh, we need to give a 2-minute delay really quick, just in case any members of the public wish to speak on the matter. Really quick, an apology to folks on Zoom. We are aware that it is saying that I am the one speaking when Marnie speaks. Unfortunately, her audio was not functioning properly, so we are now sharing a microphone. So it is making it a little difficult for everybody to understand. We'll just be sure to mention who is speaking when we speak.
Do we have any public comment?
We're still in the 2-minute window waiting for any public comment.
Where's my timer? Okay, thank you. So again, thank you guys all for being patient. This is all new to us. Okay, so seeing that I got a motion and a second for the consent calendar, I need to do a roll call. So Mayor Pro Tem Loman.
Really quick, who was our second?
Mayor Pro Tem Loman was the second.
Thank you, Mick.
Aye.
Councilmember Burris.
Aye.
Councilmember Douglas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fatula.
Aye.
And myself, Mayor Mendoza, aye. Okay, moving forward to, let me get there. Bear with me, guys. Now we're at item 7, which is public comment. So public comment, if you would like to provide comments at this time and are joining us via Zoom, please click raise hand and notify council you are requesting to provide comments. If you are joining us via Facebook Live, please type in your comments in the comment section of Facebook Live post. Dial-in participants, please press *6 to unmute. Please note, public comments is limited to 6 minutes per speaker. We will now allow a few minutes to provide ample time for participants to submit their comments. And I would also like to know if people can hear me because I do have a mask And I want to make sure that my voice is coming out clear.
Your voice is coming out loud and clear for me.
Thank you, Mick. Okay, and again, I just want to remind everybody that we have 3 minutes per speaker. So if you would like to go into public comment, choose your option, and we will call on you.
We almost need some waiting music right now.
Piano tone?
Madam Mayor, I did receive from the city clerk a document which came in as public comment on item 9A. So that wouldn't be appropriate here, but I think that's coming up.
Oh, okay. And, you can just guide me when we get to that point, Nick.
Okay.
And now that the Facebook Live screen has flipped over to the public comment portion, we'll just give it a couple minutes here to make sure we've caught up with anybody else who wants to give a comment. So now's the time. If you have any comments, just get them in real quick. Again, our audio feed and video feed that you're seeing on Facebook Live has about a 2 to 3 minute delay. So by the time you're hearing this, you know, we may have already closed that window.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody, just because Trinity and I are sharing a mic, we are using our social distancing and we do have our masks on. Oh, also, I want to remind everybody, because I'm looking at the computer screen now in public comment, it gives you the option of what I was speaking about with the Zoom, the Facebook Live, and the dial-in. So that's, you know, good for a visual. Hello, Tom Tottenham is here.
Okay, really quick, I do have a comment from the public here, if you don't mind me reading, Marnie.
Sure.
We have a comment, Nick Dion Canyon Way. Just wanted to thank every city official for their continued effort at keeping us safe during these last few weeks. Thank you, Nick. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. That's really good to hear. And thank you, Andrea, for saying that you could hear me clear. I'd seen that one as well.
And Christy, thank you.
Oh, I just want to put a shout out to my best friend, Amy Morris up the hill. Thank you so much for making my beautiful mask. I just have to put that out. I just have to. Thank you.
We do have a Facebook Live comment from PS Schooley. Will there be more, I think that's supposed to say police presence, seems more vandalism of, I think that it says cats, but I believe it's supposed to say cars, Monday. My son's tires were slashed. All we got was a phone call from the police. So I believe that's Patty. Patty, what we can do for that is we can follow up with the sheriff's department and get you an answer. Let me see.
I have her number.
We can definitely have a further conversation with the sheriff's department. What we can do to resolve some of this increased activity.
Yeah, and everybody, if you're having an issue and you can't get a hold of the sheriffs, everybody knows my line is open 24 hours, so you can always reach out to me. Okay, so I don't really see any more public comments coming in. I don't have access to the Zoom. That is
No,
where
it's
I
right
had.
there.
Oh, this is,
Yeah,
okay.
so this is Zoom and this is Facebook Live.
Okay.
So yeah, since we don't have any more public comment, we can go ahead and move on. And just a note to anybody, if your public comment does come in late, you know, we'll do our very best to make sure that your voice is still heard. We do understand that this is difficult with the change in technology and the fact that there is no ability to, be present live for the meeting, and this is new for everybody. So we're going to do our absolute best to make sure that, you're not skipped over. We have limited control over the delays with the Facebook Live and all that. So
Yeah, and we're doing the best that we can because we do want you guys to be on these calls. And so I appreciate everybody that's on Facebook and sending in your comments. So thank you for that. Okay, so now we're going to move to item 8, which is council and staff reports. Council, please remember to turn on your microphones to speak and don't forget to turn off when you are done. Joe, if you could please start, we will work our way down as if we were in chambers, the way that we are in seating. So we'll start with Councilmember Fatula.
Okay, I have one item I'm going to bring up under the good of the order concerning the losses that the city is seeing on income from sales tax revenue due to the basically shutdown that's pretty much closed all of the businesses. I'll bring that up under there. I've had quite a few discussions with various people in the community about how they're coping during this quarantine period. I'm one of the individuals that's self-quarantining in my house, so it's like I can't get out much. If there's anything anybody needs, again, my phone and my email and everything is live, so just give me a call and we'll see what we can do to help. That's all.
That's great. Thank you, Councilmember Fatila. And now we will move to please.
Councilmember Douglas, please.
Okay, I had a Zoom conference, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, and I can wait until the next meeting because there's nothing earth-shattering that came out of that meeting. Another Zoom meeting with Pioneer, where we spent a couple hours interviewing Janine Windishausen's replacement as executive director of Pioneer. And it looks like we're heading down the home stretch on that. And those are the only two Zoom meetings I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mendoza. So the only meeting that I've had since our last session was a Zoom meeting for PCTPA, and we'll be hearing about that item later tonight, so I'm not going to report on that at this time. What I do have in addition to that, though, is our Placer County Air Pollution Control District Board meeting scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled. We're going to move any items that we had over to the meeting for the following month. We do them bi-monthly, so since we're skipping April, it's going to be in June. What I do have, though, concerning that, with all of our canceled meetings, obviously, some of us have had a little bit more free time than usual. So, we have a few programs I do want to report on that are newer that we've been working on. We do have a grocery shopping service for the seniors that I've set up. We have a link for that you can sign up for online. If you or somebody is in need of help getting a hold of groceries, or frankly, if you need meals, whatever the case may be, supplies, so on and so forth, don't hesitate to reach out. I will make sure the link to that is in the comments for tonight. And then we will be posting it again on the City of Colfax Facebook page, just so that everybody has that link. If you don't have access to that link, you can also reach out to me directly via my cell phone or via my email address. My cell phone number is 916-546-6264. And I can help get you connected on that, and we can make sure that you get your groceries. We also have a lot of people in town that are working really hard to make sure that we have ample masks available. This is a volunteer effort. If you have supplies you'd like to donate, if you would like to help make masks, if you're in need of masks.
Hold on, it's no sound.
I think that's just for Patty. I think everybody else can hear. If anyone has any audio issues, could you please leave a comment just so that we're aware if there are any issues with the audio. Anyway, on the masks again, though, if you need masks, if you'd like to make masks, so on and so forth, if you want to reach out to me as well on that. You know, so far I've made and donated about 50 or so masks. I was able to get them for all the employees at Dollar General, and now I'm working on Marvell's. So we are asking for any donations of like elastic or material for that so that we can continue to knock those out. We just want to make sure we're setting a good example, since the county has asked that anybody who is out in the public, please wear a mask to try to limit contamination. The purpose of these masks is really more in case you are infected and don't know it yet. If you're an asymptomatic carrier, we just want to make sure that you're keeping your contamination radius to yourself while you're in public as much as possible. We are aware that the cloth masks don't provide the same level of protection as an N95 mask. That is not the purpose of the masks. And, you know, again, if you are working with the public and you don't have access to one, just reach out. We'll do everything we can to get you hooked up with one. They are pretty good quality, especially for the fact that a lot of us are not seamstresses by trade. But, you know, they do have wire in the top. So I'm going to reemphasize my statement from yesterday. I know a lot of people are saying you can microwave these in order to sanitize. I'm going to please ask that you do not do that. Metal and microwaves don't mix. You can use your hot iron to do it. You can throw it through your washing machine. They're completely washable. You know, just be careful and let's use common sense. Anyway, if you do have additional resources that you do need that are not being met at this time, I would ask that, you know, please reach out to council so that we have the ability to respond to that. Yeah, that's all I have to report on.
Okay, and let's move to Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem Lohman.
All of my committee meetings have been canceled, so I have nothing to report there. Work's continuing on the American River Shaded Fuel Break. All the rain we've been getting has allowed them to do a lot more burning than they were planning on. So I've been hitting that really hard. Had crews out there pretty much every day. None of our fire services in the area are currently affected. We've had no reported cases in Colfax still of COVID virus. And we're looking pretty good. Hopefully everybody can stick with the shelter in place and we can keep all the detected cases out of Colfax. And same thing for our first responders. Other than that, if you get a chance, go out and get some takeout from one of the local restaurants that are still open. That's all I had.
If anybody's talking, we can't hear anything.
Marnie's going to go ahead and repeat herself. We were muted.
Okay, so I guess we were muted, and what I said was, I said thank you. I'm sorry, you guys. I said thank you, Council. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Lohman. Joe has a report from Ty Connors regarding the tire slashing. So Joe, if you'd like to go ahead and jump in and report back on that real quick before we move on to Marnie's report.
Okay, so I just got a text from Ty giving an update on where he's at. He said that the tire slashing incident appears to be just vandalism. There's been a few other incidents that were up at the ball field where some kids were contacted last night and arrested and then released into their parents' custody. And that's for some vandalism up at the ball field. He thinks it's mostly kids that are just being bored with nothing to do. He's put some extra patrols in place that'll go both throughout the nighttime and the graveyard time to just try to mitigate that on our end. That's it.
Awesome, thank you, Council Member Fotula. Anyway, I just want you guys to know, here's my report. I'm not really a techie girl, and so I just really want to put out thanks to our council, and I just kind of want to like go over some stuff really quick that I'm really proud of our team and Colfax community. You guys really did good at the last election by voting these people in because these guys are a great team. We've all stepped up to play in, you know, different areas. As you know, Mayor delegates, and I've been trying to put as much information out there as I can, and everybody's pretty much stepped up to the plate. And, you know, like Councilmember Burris is making masks, and, you know, there's just so much going on. I'm on daily calls and daily reports at all levels of government. So with being on the League of Cities, I pretty much get my data there from the governor's office. And then I try to stream everything on Facebook when the governor reports out, when the president reports out. I'm just trying to make this information, in case anybody doesn't have it, where you guys can actually know that that place is going to be streaming. What else? I'm on weekly calls with Johns Hopkins and Harvard, and those are really good calls. I don't really have anything to report out now because there's a lot of data and I'll work on that. It's just there's so many calls. And like I said, we're all working as a team together with the city staff as well. They've also stepped up because our technology, you know, we want to make this meeting available for you to join. So we've been really working hard around that. I also want to give kudos to Councilmember Burris and Mayor Pro Tem Lohman for actually getting the YouTube going, and Councilmember Douglas for, Councilmember Burris for getting all of this technology. I mean, we actually have four things streaming live right now for the community of Colfax. And I really just want to say thank you to you guys, because that's really a big deal. Everybody does. I want to give thanks to the community too for following the president's recommendation for the 30-day, you know, stay in place for, you know, to slow the spread of the coronavirus. That's really important that we do listen. I know everybody's getting antsy because I'm getting antsy too. But, you know, we're all in this together. We are going to beat this thing. The data is really good. I promise I'll get that report out to you guys at the next meeting around all the Harvard and Johns Hopkins information. As you guys all know, public safety is my #1 priority and has been since I moved to this area and noticed our challenges. So, I mean, you guys have to understand that I'm on a lot of calls and I'm getting a lot of reports. So I will have time to make sure I have reports at the next meeting. And I also want to let you guys know that I am one of the 25,000 people that put my hand up when the governor looked to people that are in the healthcare, because I don't know what to expect, but I do have the training. And so if that happens, I'm not saying that it will happen because I don't know, because actually 80-something thousand people joined for this fight. So if it does happen, Mayor Pro Tem Sean Lohman, who I am completely and fully confident in, he also has been covering some of my time because I do work the weird hours, you know, so he's been giving me relief because I kind of work like a, you know, like an EMT does, where they're just on call. So you're just awake, and that's just the way that it works. So anyway, Mayor Pro Tem Lohman would step in if something like that was to take place. Anyway, that's really all I have to report. I'm 100% with you guys. So with that, let's get our, so Councilmember Burris.
Sorry, I just have one more thing to report on really quickly. In addition to the other resources we're putting out there, we understand that this new experience with distance learning and homeschooling has been difficult for a lot of parents. We do have a Facebook group that was put together last week. The purpose of that group is so that anybody can share resources or potentially offer tutoring help, request tutoring help. And what we're looking to do possibly is, just really support our teachers who have done an outstanding job of putting together this distance learning in such a short time period. And I know it's extremely frustrating, especially for our more rural citizens who don't have access to Wi-Fi on a regular basis. So the intent of the Facebook group is so that we can collaborate and find ways to try to work around the challenges that we're facing. And, I know a lot of you guys don't have access to Wi-Fi, but might have access to cellular data on your phone. Some of you guys are checking Facebook regularly. So if you do have those kinds of resource issues, I am asking that you reach out either to council or reach out to the group or to any of us so that we can try to help find ways to work around those challenges so that we can make sure that, our students are not suffering more than necessary through this challenge. I'm just really proud of the community and how much people have stepped up. And I know a lot of people are rising to the occasion. So, here's to hoping and just letting everybody know we do have that resource available now.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Thank you, Councilmember Burris. As you know, the superintendent, Tony Thurman, is the one leading that distance learning. And so one of those challenges is the broadband up in the rural areas. So we are tapping into finding out how to make that happen for those of us that need that. And I also want to let you guys know that we are also tapping into some of the rural area technology around medical care. So with that being said, let's continue with the meeting and get an update from our city manager, Wes Heathcock.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a couple items I want to mention. Just want to remind everyone that City Hall is still conducting business. However, public access to City Hall has been suspended through the month of April in an effort to provide information on the COVID-19 business funding resources, working with the regional chambers and the economic development managers to try to create a single message as we move forward, as we get through this time. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Wes. That's a really good report, and we are trying to cover our businesses. Again, a lot of resources are being streamed out through Facebook. Yeah. We don't have any other reports, do we? Because, yeah. Okay, so, let's, huh?
Move on to 9.
Okay, so. All right, so we're finished with item 8B. So let's move on to item 9, council business. This evening, we only have one council business item. City Manager Wes Heathcock will provide some information. Wes, will you give us some information on what we have here in item 9A?
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor. The item that we have on 9A tonight is in regards to the South Placer District Transportation Sales Tax Expenditure Plan and Ballot Measure. So this item is before the council tonight because in order to comply with the districting tax, PCTPA must get a majority of the jurisdictions in the county to support the expenditure plan, which is attachment 3. Towns outside of the South Placer County District and residents in the unincorporated area will be paying the proposed half-cent sales tax when they are purchasing within the South Placer County area district in there. So out of this package, you'll find in the resolution, there's the local jurisdiction here will receive approximately $191,000 as part of this tax measure on there. And with us tonight, we have Mike Lucan, who's the Executive Director of PCTPA. That's going to probably provide us a little bit more detail in the item, and then we'll move on to council and public comments. Mike, if you would.
Mike, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for coming out, Mike, to give us a report.
Okay, thank you everyone for hearing this item, especially during these difficult times. Again, Mike Lucan, Executive Director of PCTPA. I think Wes Heathcox added or covered the item and the item that's before you very thoroughly. And I'm here to answer any questions you have tonight. But just a couple other brief comments is really all you have before you this evening is the approval of the expenditure plan. Each of the city councils, town councils, and the board of supervisors have to weigh the merits of the expenditure plan, but the actual placing of the matter on the ballot lies solely within the purview of the Placer County Transportation Planning Agency Board. And so tonight, we have before you the items in your attachment 3, which is in our expenditure plan, which in summary includes items of regional roadways, transit, alternative transportation programs, and then money designed or funds designed for each of the 3 cities in the South Placer District, which are Rockland, Lincoln, and Roseville, for them to use on county or to use on roadways and other transportation resources within their jurisdiction. There is also a funding for a competitive pot of money to be used for projects that we don't anticipate at this point, which is 5% of the total $1.2 billion for the South Placer County. And then also there is an administrative expense for our agency, which is capped at 1% of the cost of this. And that's very important to note that we cap that administrative expense. And then also we have a oversight committee which will be overseeing a professional audit that is being done each year for these funds. And also that Citizens Advisory Committee, which is made up of citizens from those 3 jurisdictions and 1 from the unincorporated area near the district, would oversee every dollar that's spent in this endeavor. So as Wes outlined, all of the entities, all of the jurisdictions in the county, although they're not in the district, have to consider this measure. Consider the expenditure plan. And we're asking you to, and recommending that you approve that tonight. Where this goes from here is that after it's heard by each of the cities and towns and the board of supervisors, is that our board of directors would then consider an ordinance to place it on the ballot. The first reading would be at the April 22nd meeting, and the second reading would be at the May 27th meeting. Now, one thing to note as I conclude is that because of the COVID-19 or coronavirus crises, our board has initiated a procedure to essentially see where we're at over the next few months and measure our progress of where we're at in the crises and determine on a month-by-month basis to see if we want to put this measure on the ballot for 2020 or whether we want to delay. And so that's a very deliberate process because of the fact that we're in this crisis that we're in now. So with that, I'll conclude, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Am I on? Okay. So we actually do have a public comment, so I would like to go there first, and then I'm going to ask the council to ask any questions that they may have. So seeing that we have a public comment, we do have somebody on the line, and then if you can check the other areas and see if there's any public comment there, that'd be great.
Hey, Marnie, talking to your mic because you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh. So I was saying that I have public comment, somebody that has called in, and they're also checking to see if the other areas that we have feeding live have any public comments, and then we're going to go to council questions. Yeah, can you
Go ahead and ask Michael.
Michael Garabini.
Hi, how are you? This is Mayor Mendoza. Forgive us for our technical difficulties. This is the first time we've seen this way. We've got 4 different things happening. We want to make sure that your comments are noted here, and you can go ahead and unmute yourself. This is phone, right? Okay, so if you unmute yourself with a *6, that would be great.
I think I unmuted with a click on something that said unmute. Can
Yes,
you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you. I can hear you.
Well,
Can you
great. Well, thank you. I'm Mike Garabedian. Thank you for this opportunity to participate at this difficult time in this method. I sure appreciate it. I'm speaking for Placer County tomorrow and also Friends of the North Fork. And this is about the proposal for the projects. And we urge you to remove 3 projects from the expenditure plan. They're on attachment 3, page 5. Those 3 projects are the Placer Parkway, 15-mile new freeway from Whitney Ranch over to Sutter County, the widening of SR 65, and then the 8065 interchange. These are a fundamental, all of them, a waste of taxpayer money. Unlike the recent interchange improvement, the roughly $50 million or so safety investment that had no opposition. Well, this is different. These 3 projects are to cost $1.5 billion with coming from the sales tax, 500 million as I calculated from their thing. And this is over 30 years. Now, the polling did not explain to people the argument against this, that it will not relieve traffic congestion. The policy brief handed out to you is from peer-reviewed research. We hope you will look at that and talk with your transportation planning experts about it. And when the public learns the facts, they will not support this. And whatever good is in it would be lost. Now, SR 65 all the way north, just to point out, is to be 4 lanes all the way up the north. And it's that's all that's needed. We don't have to widen it. Now, the other 1.7 billion for the tax proposal, we do not have a position for or against that, though concerned that maybe tax increase isn't the right way to do it. So that's our first point. The other points are pretty brief. This creates many miles of new lanes to maintain. 15 miles plus 4 lanes, and then widening 65 and more lanes in the interchange. We do not have the money to maintain what we have now. Next point, there are many ways that the expenditure plan could be changed. You can't be fooled by that. It can be changed at least in 10 years. More projects can be added if there's more revenue from the tax. And expenditures can be reallocated on a different percentage basis any year, as long as over 30 years, my goodness, the percentage is still correct. And then there can be a temporary shift in tax revenues and developer impact based on developer impact fees amongst the projects in any given year. So, and there's also even a district policy advisory committee, different than the one mentioned before, to recommend projects. So there's so many things that can be changed. Colfax is asked to be support an ordinance that is not you. We do not agree this is exempt from CEQA. And so what should we do now?
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't get what you said.
Michael, could you?
Can you unmute yourself? Am I on? Can I get the next caller, please? And can you please check the Zoom and the Facebook for comments? Do I have another caller? Okay, oh, okay, thank you. And Facebook, do we have anything? Zoom? And what's the other thing that we're on?
So the caller
Okay,
is,
so really quick here, I'm just going to read off our comments here. We do have on Facebook. Let me make sure we're not
What
muted.
is he talking about? What's Tom talking about
Okay.
acronyms?
So really quickly here, Tom Parham asked if we could please explain any acronyms that we're using. It doesn't help the public, obviously, if they can't understand the acronyms. And then additionally, Tom Parnham has also made a comment that this does not concern Colfax. I will just clarify that it does concern Colfax in the sense that we are being asked to support the measure. In that sense, it does concern Colfax. On the note, though, about making changes to the expenditure plan, that is something that would have to come back to the board at PCTPA before any changes could be made to that expenditure plan. That is not something that could be done by the city of Colfax. However, if the city of Colfax council did wish to see changes on the expenditure plan, that is something that we could go back and bring to that board. Just a reminder really quick, PCTPA is the Placer County Transportation Planning Agency. That is our board of transportation for the county of Placer. I am the chairman of the board this year for that board. So if there are concerns, those are concerns that I would have brought up during the board meetings previously.
Thank you, Councilmember Burris. Do we have any other
We have
calls?
Josh Alpine on the line.
Oh, hello. Do we have?
Hello.
Josh, you're clear to speak.
Okay, great. Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Honorable Council. Joshua Alpine, 133 Culver Street, Colfax. I would just like to commend you on the great job of putting this together and working with PCT, with the Placer County Transportation Agency, of getting the needs of Colfax in the rural areas outside of the district addressed with some sort of funding level over the next couple of years on a sales tax that is going to be implemented on the outside of the city of Colfax. Wonderful job, and the improvements that are planned to be made in the expenditure plan is something that would improve everybody's work-life balance, easing up the traffic in that bottleneck between Rockland and points points west towards Lincoln on the Highway 65. If anybody has traveled that lately, knows how it kind of clogs up every day, adding an extra 10 to 15 minutes of your commute. But I would encourage the council to please adopt the resolution in the expenditure plan. And once again, congratulate you and thank you for the great job of looking out for the city of Colfax. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Do I have any other callers or comments in our public comment areas?
Jackie?
Here, Michael raised his hand again, however, his 3 minutes.
Can we go ahead and give him just one more minute because he did get cut off at the end?
Yeah, I would like to just hear the last part of what he said because I missed that last portion and I tried to reach out.
I'm gonna
But
go ahead and unmute and we have 1 more minute here.
Michael, we're going to give you 1 more minute here. Sorry about that.
yeah, because I didn't get the last part of what you said. So you said Colfax.
Well, I talked about everybody pitching in. There are, because the tens of thousands of units have already been entitled in South Placer County, there is going to be a congestion nightmare there. No matter what happens, we can relieve it with various things I could list. I don't know if I can list them in a minute. But the good news, as was pointed out, is that this PCTPA has until May 27th to decide to send this to the Board of Supervisors. I believe there may be some flexibility there, and the Board of Supervisors won't finally send everything to the ballot by July 21st. They might do it before that, but what we would really like to see is discussion of these items. Looking at there's a new policy brief is from 2015. There's a new report called Congestion Con by Transportation for America. And this is what we hope the council will continue to look at, because there's.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. And again, I was kind of looking at what you were saying about Colfax and how this related to Colfax. So moving forward.
If that's a question, I can
Thank you for your comments. I wanted to hear what you said in your latter part of the last 3 minutes. So I'm going to move on to my council members.
Thank you.
Okay, so do I have any questions? Council member Fatula.
Nope, no questions on this right now.
Okay, and council member Douglas
No comment at this time.
and council member Burris.
Yes, I would just like to say that, I have obviously been to all the board meetings concerning this for the Placer County Transportation Planning Agency. And again, as board chair this year, I have to say that I am very pleased with the expenditure plan. We picked through it with a fine tooth comb. Mike has been very clear with me and taken the time to sit down and go through this in great detail. And I fully support the resolution as written tonight.
Okay, and Mayor Pro Tem Loman, do you have any questions or comments? Because we have Mike here.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is that everybody except for myself?
I think that maybe it might be wise if we just gave it one more minute to see if any other public comment comes through.
Okay.
Just to give anybody that last opportunity. Please remember to public comment, just like it is during the public comment portion of this meeting, is still limited to 3 minutes.
Okay, and I do have a couple questions. So I would like to ask the Executive Director of the Placer County Transportation Agency. The first gentleman that was on public comment mentioned something about polling, that he had some type of statistics. What was he talking about?
We're unmuting Mike really quick.
Okay, just waiting to be unmuted. So what he was talking about is that our board has asked us to poll a number of times over the past 8 years on whether there is support for this measure or not. And at the last meeting, it was shown that there is a majority support in South Placer County for this measure. We are not yet at the 2/3 threshold that would be required to pass the measure, but we do have majority support in Lincoln, Rockland, and Roseville for this measure. So that's what he's talking about with polling. And we poll on a number of things. One is basic support of the proposed ballot language for this measure. We also asked them about what are key issues in South Placer County. And for the last 8 years, traffic congestion has either been the number 1 or number 2 issue in South Placer consistently. And so that is basically the impetus for us putting this forward, because the residents and voters of South Placer County think that relieving traffic congestion is one of the top issues affecting health, affecting economic development, and affecting the quality of life of residents of South Placer County and the entire county, because a lot of us, work and shop down there, even if we don't live in that area.
For me. And then the other thing that he had mentioned is the cost of maintaining lanes. What does that mean? I mean, can you just show me down there, what does this do for that area that he seems to be focused on? He seems to be focused on the 65, the Whitney Branch, he said. I mean, what is he talking about when he says maintaining lanes? With this transportation, I mean, does that widen that area? Can you just kind of give me a visual on that, please?
Sure. And that deals with another item that is key in the discussion of the transportation system for South Placer County and really for all areas of California. So maintenance of those roadways is funded primarily through the gas tax. And so the state passed SB1, or the gas tax, a couple years ago, and then we went through a recall election and it was confirmed. But essentially the gas tax is set up to maintain our roadways. Certainly there is a backlog of maintenance because it took the state 12 years to adopt the gas tax. but really that's what's set up to maintain our roadways, including Placer Park, these new roadways that we're proposing, which is Placer Parkway or widening of new freeways like or widening of existing freeways like State Route 65 or Interstate 80. So the difference is the gas tax funds maintenance, and what we're talking about is for expanding our roadways. And unfortunately, the state, when it created the gas tax, only created it for maintenance or fix it first. So this is a separate funding source that our county needs for matching funds to expand those roadways. So two separate pots of funding.
So I guess really what it all boils down to is my main question would be, how does this affect if we had to do an evacuation because of fire or something like that? Does that expand that area so that the roads are wider so that people can get out? That's
Yeah, a very important aspect of this, and it's really shown in the polls that we've done, is emergency vehicle access. And our first responders and the chiefs of both the fire departments and the police departments in South Placer County are very involved in this effort. Because if we don't improve those roadways, the response time, whether it's responding to an accident or an ambulance, for example, going from the accident to one of our major hospitals, Kaiser or Sutter, if we don't make these improvements, those response times will triple or quadruple. To give you an example, in West Roseville, on a Thursday evening right now, it can take as long as 45 minutes to get to Kaiser Roseville from West Roseville. So you're talking about 4 times that amount of time to get to there if we don't do these improvements. So it's a very, very serious matter in terms of emergency access. And then, in terms of regional access, again, we all have to go through the interchange. We all have to drive on 65. And so it really affects both emergency response and evacuations if we ever have to do that, because things like this, the interchange that Mr. Garabedian mentioned, that interchange is not designed for what's called contraflow, which is where we would turn the freeway all in one direction to exit the foothills, for example. If we don't improve that interchange, you can't do that. So it's very, very important, not only for South Placer, but for the entire county to make these improvements for emergency response purposes. One of the other things that was touched upon was kind of what is in this for Colfax. And there is, our county has taken a different approach, in terms of helping outside the district. And we are also going to be taking some of our existing resources, and those would be in the form of local transportation funds, a funding source that was created back in the 1970s. We are proposing to actually take some of that existing funding, if the measure passes, and transfer it to those communities that are not in the district. So Colfax, Auburn, and Loomis would receive extra funding for their roadways if this measure passes. And we estimate that for Colfax, that could be as much as an additional $190,000 a year that it could use for its roads if this measure passes, because we don't want to leave Colfax out.
Well, thank you for that. Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
Okay, great. Thank you for that information. My main focus with that is, here we are in the COVID-19 medical crisis, and I want to remind everybody about Orville Dam. And if they remember what happened when that dam broke and the evacuation that took place to try and get those residents out of that area, well, guess what? I remember it. I know that Senator Brian Dolly remembers it. And then also what happened during the Paradise. So, to me, this is like what you just told me right there. That to me is very important. We need to help our neighbors out down in the valley so that they can evacuate properly, because there's a lot of housing down there. And I believe that there's some new housing coming in, isn't there, down in Placer? So anyway, I guess we'll look for a motion, a move to,
Just one last bit as well. I'd like to take a moment to appreciate the way that Placer County uniquely approached this measure. As you guys may or may not remember from previous council meetings, the ability for us to create this special district for the sake of implementing this tax measure is something that's brand new. It required special legislation, and right now we are one of, and Mike, remind me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 3 counties that are being allowed to do this as a sort of pilot. So Placer County uniquely has been a great steward of the taxpayers' funds in respect to transportation. PCTPA has a history of having, an extremely good track record with the efficiency of the funds spent and making sure that the smaller jurisdictions are not left out and left hanging. And in recognition of the fact that we remember, people from the unincorporated areas, from Colfax, from Auburn, from Loomis, we understand that everybody still does a lot of their shopping down in the Roseville area. That is part of the reason that this resolution tonight is structured in the manner it is, so that funds will still be considered for our area, despite our area not being included in the sales tax jurisdiction. So that's something that is very unique to Placer County, and we are very grateful for. And that is the reason that I support this tonight. And I would make a motion that we approve this resolution as written.
okay, so I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Joe.
Thank you, Councilmember Fatula. Seeing that we have a first and a second, let's go back to the roll call. Councilmember Fatula, let's just start with you. I'm gonna go like in order because yeah. Councilmember Fatula.
This is the call for the vote. Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Douglas.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Burris.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Loman.
Aye.
Okay, and then myself, Mayor Mendoza, is an aye. Motion passes. Okay, so we're gonna move to the next item, which is item 10, good of the order. Let's start with Councilmember Fatula.
Okay, I got 2 items that I just want to mention to everybody. One, if you're looking for a good source of information on this coronavirus, MedCram, MEDCRAM on YouTube or medcram.com has some of the world's most renowned epidemiologists that go through all of the details and all of the information there. Parts of it are pretty technical, but a lot of their graphics and all that they have are very easy to understand. So that was just kind of a reference in there. The second item I have is on what we're seeing or what we're anticipating as projected losses in revenue for Colfax. So I've been working with Wes and his financial people to try to get an estimate of where we're at. Right now, but at the end of April, assuming the quarantine is finished at that point, we would have been basically in the shutdown mode for 43 days. Looking around the country, people are seeing drops in sales tax revenue of anywhere between 50 and 90%. If we assume 50%, this will translate into a one-time loss of about $86,000. If it's closer to 90%, this will be around $155,000. So what I'd like to do maybe for next month's council meeting or next council meeting we have is entertain a motion to get a letter over to the county and to the state to say Colfax was going to need help trying to recover some of these funds. And maybe we can get a grant from the county or the state to cover some of that. If this continues longer than that, like going out 2 or 3 months, then it gets very, very serious with us. So.
Thank you. Is that all you had?
Yep.
Councilmember Douglas.
Yes, I have one thing concerning the wearing the masks. Thank you, Trinity, for making those masks, and I would urge you to make a few more for the employees of Marvell. I've been going there and I've been alarmed that the customers are wearing a mask, but the employees are not. And I've seen employees making food, sandwiches, stocking, and breathing on the food without a mask. So I think that's something that should be pointed out to the manager at Marvell. Thank you.
Much, Councilmember Douglas, you are such a great asset to this. Definitely get on that. Councilmember Burris, do you have anything for the good of the order?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and respond to Kim really quick. So Kim, I'm actually underway right now in making masks for the Marvell's employees. Pretty much I'm just trying to crank them out as fast as my fingers will carry me. And I just wanna thank the community too for the materials that people donated. I definitely would not be able to make as many masks as I've been able to make so far or continue to make without all of your support. It's pretty huge, you know, with me donating these, obviously, you know, as some of you are aware, I was affected by the layoffs as part of this COVID-19. So I am not in any position to be buying bulk amounts of material and, you know, whipping these out. So I just want to thank everybody who has reached out to me on Facebook, on my phone, and otherwise to help support this effort. And it's really made a big difference. And so I will try to get Marvell's outfitted with masks as soon as I possibly can.
Thank you, Councilmember Burris. Can I,
Pro Tem Loman?
hmm?
Pro Tem Loman?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem Loman. I'm just like really like so proud of our community. Like I see them, like they're stepping up. She needs supplies. So, and also if there's anybody that are sewers out there and want to participate in making masks for our community, reach out via Facebook or call the City Hall and let them know, leave a message. Mayor Pro Tem Loman, our captain of the fire.
Thanks. Just wanted to say thank you, Marnie and Trinity, for keeping up on the online stuff. Trinity, thanks for donating your free time to the mask stuff. That's pretty awesome. And thank you, Jackie and Wes, for putting this live stream together and getting it all going. I know it was clunky and it was a whole new experience, but thank you. I think it turned out really well. Great job.
Well, am I muted? Oh,
You're unmuted now.
okay. So Mayor Pro Tem Loman, I said thank you for covering some of my shifts for me to make sure that, you know, that we keep our area safe. And my good of the order is basically to echo the president, coronavirus guidelines for America, and to echo your governor, Gavin Newsom, on what he's reporting out. Like I said, I streamed both of those on my Facebook. But yeah, I really want to echo out the president's guidelines for America, 30 days to slow the spread. So wash your hands, put on your mask,
Stay home.
and stay home. And I want to thank the citizens of Colfax for listening, because guess what? I have a bird's eye view and we're doing this, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. I do have hotlines available, so reach out to me. I'm going to try and focus in on those probably tomorrow, get those out. We did get a couple of hotlines. You can find those on the page on Facebook. Reach out and call the City Hall if you guys have any questions. Like, we're here for you. Yeah, so with that being said, I want to thank everybody for your time of coming out tonight. Those of you on the different forms that we have, thank you for spending your time with us. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We will get better at this as we go, and I hope all of you join, and everybody just, we got this, you know? I really have hope on this thing. We're gonna get through this. So we are Colfax. And with that, we are adjourned at 7:24. What did she say?
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.